Now we'll do a seated twist with a chair. So have a seat sideways on your chair and adjust the flesh of your buttocks so that you can really sit on the front half of your sitting bones and have your feet flat. And then twist so that you face the back of the chair. And use your hands on the back of the chair to help you twist a little deeper. You'll find that one hand can push and one hand can pull. And that can help you turn your rib cage around a little more. See if you can allow the heads of the humerus bones to stay back in the shoulder sockets. So there's a feeling that the shoulders are back and the shoulder blades are sliding down from top to bottom, and you still stay long through the inner trunk. And then release the twist and spin around on the chair so that you can do the other side. Again, adjust the flesh of the buttocks. Pull the flesh of the buttocks back behind the sitting bones. And this way you can maintain the natural curves of the spine as you sit tall. So sitting tall comes easily because your bones are organized and you don't stress out your muscles by contriving an upright seat. And then turn and twist towards the back of the chair and use your hands on the back of the chair. And if you practice, you'll find that one hand can push and one hand can pull, and that will very naturally help you deepen your twist. Take your shoulders back, lift the low belly, turn the belly, turn the ribs, turn the collarbones. Breathe here as you're deep in the twist. And then release and come back to center. Now we'll practice heel on the chair pose. So stand in front of the chair and place your left heel onto the chair seat. Hands on hips, and make sure that your right thigh isn't sitting forward, but rather pull the right thigh back and pull the left thigh back into the hip socket, and then lift the low belly up off the pelvis and continue ascending the trunk from bottom to top, lifting the belly and the rib cage, and then stretch your arms overhead. Be strong in those arms, stretching the hands open, thumbs pull back, shoulder blades snuggle in, and think of gathering the outer body in as you press the right thigh back. So the front of the right thigh pulls back towards the back of the leg. Stretch through the left leg and pull the left thigh bone back into the hip socket. Standing nice and tall, and then exhale, release the arms out to the sides and down, and we'll switch sides. So take your right heel up onto this chair seat now. Hands on hips. Lift the low belly. Pull the front of the left thigh back so that you're really standing over the left arch and there's no sitting forward at all. Pull the right thigh back into the hip socket. Lift the belly, lift the side ribs, front ribs, back ribs. Stretch up through the waist, the armpits, the arms, open hands, thumbs reaching back, shoulder blades snuggling into the rib cage. Left thigh bone back. Make sure you're internally rotated at the very tops of the thighs. Squeeze your outer hips into the midline. Gather the outer body in and get taller. Breathing here as you balance. And then exhale and release your arms down and stand on 2 feet. Now we'll practice a twist balance with the chair. So stand facing the chair seat, have a little space between you and the chair, and then lift the left leg up and place your left foot on the chair seat and the left knee is bent. And make sure that your right thigh isn't sitting forward, but rather pull the right thigh back. And then start to twist your belly and rib cage to the left. So your right hand will come to the outer left knee. Left hand on left hip and left shoulder is opening. Think of pulling the front of the right thigh back in space so you're standing directly over the right arch, grounding through the right inner foot, and then lengthen up through that right leg all the way up through the anterior spine. Open your left arm so that you can look back at the left hand, wide across the chest, lifted in the low belly, grounded in the feet. And then exhale and release and stand on 2 feet, and we'll switch sides. And now lift your right leg up and place your right foot onto the chair seat. Hands on hips to start. Front of the left thigh pulls back in space. Gather your outer hips towards the midline. And from that foundation, start to twist the belly to the right. Pull the right ribs back, left ribs forward. Shoulders to the back of the shoulder sockets. Open your right arm out as you see here. Left hand to the outer right knee to help you twist. Pull the front of the left thigh back. Gather the outer hips in. And ascend deep inside your trunk. Find an ascension of the central axis. Open and relaxed in the back of the throat, lengthening up through the top of the head. And then exhale and release back to center. Now we'll practice Paschimottanasana with a chair. So have a seat on the edge of the chair seat and adjust the flesh of your buttocks so that you can sit on the front of the sitting bones. And then extend your legs out so that your heels will come forward a little bit. Open feet, open toes, hands on the chair seat behind you to lift and open the chest. Lift the entire spine, each vertebrae lifting off of the one that's underneath it, shoulders back. And then start to hinge at the hips to come forward and grab onto the outer edges of the feet. You can have bent knees here. If that's easier for you, that's fine. If you have tight hamstrings, then bent knees will be a good idea. Elbows lifting, lengthening the trunk forward towards the toenails. No hardening in the belly or the throat here. So the belly recedes and lengthens. The back of the throat is open. The legs are active and engaged, whether the knees are bent or straight. And you elongate the trunk forward towards the feet. Enjoy the nice incline that the chair provides. Let gravity help you here. And then start to lift up out of the pose, taking the hands to the chair seat, shoulders back. Bend your knees and feet flat. Hands resting on thighs and pause. And now bring your sticky mat to the wall for a variation of Parshvottanasana. And step your left foot forward and right foot back. Hips are square. Feet are hips distance apart. And then lift your arms and lengthen your waist up through the arms, through the fingertips. So there's a big lift of the low belly and a lift of the rib cage up. Continue to square your hips. The back foot is at a 45-degree angle. Lift up through the musculature of the legs and then hinge forward at the hips to bring your fingertips to the wall. And walk your fingertips up the wall to get longer. Pull your hips back. Engage the musculature of the legs so that the muscles of the legs lift up from ankles to knees to hips. Think of the outer left hip pulling back and think of squeezing the outer hips towards each other. And let your head release down. And then push your fingertips off the wall to come all the way up to center. Exhale your arms out to the sides and down. Hands to hips. And then come to the other side, taking the right foot forward and left foot back. Back foot is at a 45-degree angle, hips are square, musculature of the legs are engaged. And lift the arms all the way up, lengthening the waist up, lift the rib cage three-dimensionally up off of the abdomen, off of the lower back. Extended arms, open hands. Draw the muscles of the legs up from ankles to knees to hips. And then hinge at the hips to take the fingertips to the wall and walk those fingertips up the wall as you pull your pelvis back. Extended arms and legs here, long in the trunk, long spine. Let your head release down and think of pinning your outer hips, gathering them in towards the midline. Pull that outer right hip back even more. Stay very active in your legs here. And then push off the wall to come back to center, lengthening the arms. And exhale, release the arms out to the sides and down. Hands to hips, and step your feet together. Now we'll do a quad stretch with a chair, with the sticky mat against the wall and a blanket. So fold up your blanket and place it on the sticky mat near the wall as you see here. And turn around so your back is to the wall and so you're facing the chair, and rest on your shins, and your feet can be up on the blanket. And then lean your hands into the seat of the chair and place your left knee on the blanket so that your left shin is against the wall. And then place your right foot between the legs of the chair. And use your hands on the seat of the chair to help your spine become very upright. And you can press the top of the left foot into the wall and start to squeeze your outer hips towards each other. Pull the outer right thigh back towards the hip socket. Square off your hips and lift the low belly up off your pelvis, and even think of lifting the front of the pelvis as you ground the sacrum, the tailbone forward towards the front heel, and lift the spine, ascend the spine and lengthen it from bottom to top, squaring the hips, gathering the outer hips, lengthening the thoracic spine here as well. And then bring your front shin down to the floor and the back shin down to the floor, and we'll get ready to switch sides. Bring your hands onto the chair seat and place the right shin against the wall by taking the right knee onto the blanket, and place your left foot between the legs of the chair. Again, use your hands on the seat of the chair to help keep you upright. And start to gather the outer hips in. Pull the outer left thigh back. Square the hips and lift the low belly. Lift the front of the pelvis and ascend through the spine from bottom to top, and let the tailbone anchor forward towards the front heel. Continue to square the hips. Use the chair to lift up out of your waist. Kick the back foot into the wall. Let the sacrum move forward towards the front heel. Breathing here. Breathing into the sensations. Lifting the low belly. Gathering the outer hips. And then lower the front shin down. And lower the back shin down. Sit on the shins here, rest your hands on thighs, and then release and come out of the pose, knees bent and feet flat. Now we'll practice legs up the wall pose. So place your sticky mat against the wall and then sit down so that one side of your body is very close to the wall, and then swing your back onto the floor and your legs up the wall. And scoochie yourself in very close to the wall so that you feel the backs of your legs and your buttocks resting on the wall. Stretch the legs up, stretch the inner feet up, and extend your arms onto the sticky mat up overhead. Long arms and long legs, long trunk. Soft, long belly settling down towards the anterior spine. Toes are open. And stay active here, lengthening the limbs, keeping the chest open, grounding the inner thighs and the tops of your thighs towards the wall. And then adjust your arm position. Take your arms by your sides and let your shoulder blades slide down your back and come into a more restful pose now. Stay present and deepen your breath.